Hi everyone, this is Rohit from Lifestyle Mastery, and today I'm excited to have Cesare Pesci, who's a junior associate at YOBE Ventures, where he combines a background in investment banking, sustainable finance, consulting, and sales to support growth stage and tech founders. He's doing his MSc in global management from Copenhagen Business School. Welcome to the show, Cesare.
Well, thanks. Well,
Awesome. Before we talk about your experience, how did you get in this crazy world of startups and venture capital, and how did you land in Copenhagen?
yeah, so it was Copenhagen was quite of a random choice. I mean, I was telling you
Yeah.
before. Um, it was like my dad got a job here in Copenhagen, so we all moved from Rome to Copenhagen, and we all wanted to move out of Italy, so it was the perfect spot.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about Denmark or Copenhagen before. I knew it was like an island up north, but I didn't know much. But it was the perfect opportunity, so of course I jumped in. And then I decided to stay. My family all went back. They are now in France. But I decided to stay because I liked it here. I have some friends, and I thought that you know I wanted to finish my master here instead of like going back to Italy or France. And regarding venture capital, as well, I wouldn't say it's calculated. I wouldn't say it's like something I always wanted to do. Just to give you some context, before I started to work in a Danish scale-ups in sales, and then one day, then I decided to leave, and one day I got a call um, from someone that was working at YOBE Ventures, and he wanted to present me some investment deals and some big ones because he knew I was an investor, but I made smaller investments, so it wasn't a fit. But then we liked each other, and he was like, you know what, we're looking for someone. What about you talk to Yotis, the managing partner? And then I talked to Yotis. We had a call, and we also really liked each other. And I've been working at YOBE Ventures ever since. That was in February 2023, so 2 years and a half now.
Interesting. And your role has also evolved to from analyst to junior associate. So how's been the experience? And what does it take to go from one level to another level, especially in a VC firm?
Yeah, it's when I joined, as you said, I was an analyst, so it was really the work like market research, analyzing decks, analyzing financials. Now I will say it's also a bit more the same, but I get more responsibilities, right? So I also get a say on what happens. So it's much more open. I also, when the managing partner cannot attend, because some of the portfolio companies we also have a board seat, and it happened that sometimes the managing partner cannot attend for some reason. So I'm the one attending these board meetings. So that's also good. That's of course not something you can do as an analyst. Um, but I would say, as most VCs, we're quite small. We are six people in total at
Hmm.
YOBE Ventures. So it was kind of like a gradual increase. But then it also came a lot from me. It's not like, at least for me, it's not like people were coming to me saying, um, I want you that I want you to do that. It's a lot. You have to come up with new ideas, new things, and you have to deserve it in a way. It's not. It doesn't like fall from the sky. And I also say this because your question is like why I joined, right? But I also want to say why I stayed, because I think it's also important. At my age, I'm 22. I'm going to be 23 next week, actually on Monday.
Hmm.
Um, at my age, people change a lot, right? Because they're young, they like to change a lot. So staying 2 years and a half in a place tells you a lot about who you work with.
Hmm.
And the reason I stayed is UTs, the managing partner. We really like working with each other. And I also say this to the audience, a small advice, which is that when you like, and I talk from experience, when you like working with someone particularly, don't take it for granted that you're gonna find the same feeling easily somewhere else,
Hmm.
because you're not. And when you like working a lot with someone, really try to work with that person as long as you can, because it's not granted at all that you're gonna find the same
Yeah.
feeling somewhere else easily. Yeah.
Correct. And the ventures, they combine both investment and advisory. So how does that dual model influence your day-to-day working with startups?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I get to see both sides, and I really like it, because in a way, VCs also provide smart money, right? At least most of them, we do. So having a knowledge on the industry, having a knowledge of the founders, this helps a lot. And by the way, when we say advisor, right, people think a lot about fundraising, but it's much
Yeah.
more than fundraising. It's help with your pitch deck, help with your financials, help with finding the right co-founder, help with finding people, uh, to having the right hiring process, to hire the right people. It's not just like fundraising. It's much more than that. And I think to be a great VC, you also need to have that side, because your founder, especially at early stage, which we do, right? So we do seed, Series A. We don't really touch pre-seed, but I mean, a company in seed stage still needs a lot of help in that sense, right? So they still need a lot of guidance, much more than just capital. And so working on the advising side is, really allows you to improve on that. So when your portfolio company is going to ask you advice, you can provide that.
Correct. And are there any specific qualities or metrics that you look for in founders when you're evaluating like a seed or Series A startup?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it depends on industry, right? Depends on the stage. But you have the traditional metrics. Of course, in software, so you're gonna have your customer acquisition cost, LTV to CAC, AR, MR. But something that at least that's very personal to me. It's I always ask the revenue per full-time employee, because I think it tells a lot on how you use your employees, right? So, for instance, a company with with $10 million in AR, so that's roughly $100 million in valuation, with 100 employees is one thing. Having a company with the same revenue but with 10 employees, you understand that company is 10 times more efficient, right? So
Right.
it's um, it's a metric that I like to ask, because it tells you a lot about how the company is managed. But also, for instance, we like the team. So something we really like is looking at the team, the experience of the team, because we believe that a strong team will most likely than not, succeed. And then also a question again that's very personal to me is like how much of they have invested themselves, right? Because I want to know that if it doesn't work out, it's not for you. Oh, okay, it didn't work out, it's fine. Because we also put a lot right on the table. It's not our money; it's LP's money. So there is a lot of responsibilities there. So if I invest in someone that I know, if it doesn't work out, it's not gonna be good for him or her. It's another thing.
Correct. And especially, when you're working on a startup ecosystem, are you playing a long game? How do you maintain that transparency and conviction in an ecosystem? Because, lot of founders could resort to dishonesty.
Yeah. It's a good question. As Yotis writes, he always tells me there is a lot of BS, so bullshit.
Yeah.
Pardon my French, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
And it's all about working with the right people. You have to. It's about experience. I know it doesn't tell anything to people, but it's about experience, because you need to identify those traits that are going to allow you to realize, okay, when is it good, and when it's a red flag and when it's not. At the beginning, you're not going to be able to do that, but then with experience, you're going to be able to develop those traits. For instance, me personally, like at the beginning, I was introduced to lots of investor groups, founder groups, but you have a lot of BS. You have a lot of groups that then it doesn't mean anything. You have information everywhere, scams everywhere. For instance, on Telegram, and this is not a criticism of Telegram, but on Telegram you have lots of them, because on the crypto industry. But then you also have the opposite, right? So in the end, everything compounds because you just need to get introduced to 2 or 3 people that are serious, and then they're going to introduce you to other people, to other groups, and so it's just about finding 2 or 3 people, and then from there it compounds, and you can find much more, key relationships.
Got it. And what's the most valuable lesson that you learned while working very closely with early stage founders when they go from 0 to 1?
It's I would say that that failure is a process, that you will fail, and that is good. We also often associate the word failure with something negative, but it's not. It doesn't have to be. It's a process, and I know it's cliche, right? Everybody says it, but I truly mean it. I failed many times, but it allowed me to be where I am today, so I don't regret it. And so failure is a process, and you never fail to, you never stop to learn, and you never have to. So people think, for instance, I have lots of friends, they finish their masters, and then after that they just sit home and relax and work the 9 to 5. For me, I think you should always be learning something, always acquiring new skills, and founders do that, right? So it's all about acquiring new knowledge.
Correct. And you mentioned about doing that sort of financial research and financial modeling. So how do you approach financial modeling and doing that due diligence for early stage startups when you don't have that much data along, or data is often uncertain?
Yeah, again, it's a good question. So first of all, also want to clarify something. You're right in saying that the data is uncertain, but often you have data. What you have though is forecast. So you have to, thanks to forecast, be able to predict something, right? So that's the difficult part. Of course, for pre-revenue, you compete, right? For a pre-revenue company, they come to you, they only say, yeah, I have a beta, I have an MVP, but that's it. Then it's tougher. You have to make lots of assumptions. That's the truth. You have to make lots of assumptions. Me personally, when I have some data, I like to use the DCF valuation, discounted cash flow, comparable. So you start to compare the company with, okay, so this is a company in prop tech, in seed. What are other companies in prop tech, in seed, in the same geography and the same, having the same focus, being valued at? So you have to find your way. But you have to make lots of assumptions. That's the truth. In the end, it's a lot about assumption. There is no right formula. Whatever works for you is fine as long as it makes sense.
Okay, I got it. And how does YOBE's advisory support differ from that of a traditional accelerator or a VC firm?
Yeah, so that's thank you for the question. So basically, we're quite different. Because again, we don't only provide fundraising, we do fundraising, but we help with your pitch deck, we help you with your financials, we help you with coaching. We really want to put the founder in the best spot to basically be able to talk to VCs, right? So something we often do is like we ask the founder to record himself or herself, pitching to VCs, so then we can watch it and see like, okay, this is here you employ the right term, here you didn't employ the right term. You shouldn't say that now. You should maybe say that later. And so that's not traditional, companies that help founders don't do that. And then again, help with financials, coaching. And everything. Like if you need again a co-founder, you need help with that. I have the chance to have a strong network. Otis has an even stronger network, so we can do that. Helping you in hiring the right people, helping you, setting up a structure to hire the right people as well.
Correct. And I see that you've also supported the team in Miami. So especially when in your previous roles, how was the experience in both Copenhagen and Miami, and what's your understanding about European versus US ecosystems?
Yeah, they're very different ecosystems, especially nowadays, where I think politics is more of a factor than it used to be. Um, they're very different ecosystems. I mean, Europe in general is very different. Copenhagen is very different. Here, and I can also tell you a bit later about it, but here it's much more about, green startups, impact investments, that it used to be as well in the US, but now it's much less. You have lots of AI, lots
Yeah.
of AI, fintech, insurtech. You don't have that much here in Europe, especially in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of impact, green startups, decarbonization, and also, I also noticed that American investors are very, they're very risk takers, while here they're more like risk averse. And that's also because of the current regulations, how they're structured. So regulations as well are different. And then I also have to say language is a thing, right? So in the end, I mean, this is more broadly to Europe, but in Copenhagen people speak really good English, but when you go to Southern Europe, that's not the case. So that's also a factor. While in the US, of course, it's not a factor.
Yeah. Interesting, because you talked about sustainability and green finance, and when I was studying in the UK, I found that countries like France and Nordics are a little more aligned towards sustainable companies. But how do you integrate sustainability with early stage VC investing, and which are the sort of sectors or companies that you're more bullish on?
Yeah, so we basically, again, that's something that we used to see in the US a lot, but we
Yeah.
don't see that a lot anymore. I wouldn't say rightly so, because I mean, people say, I mean, I don't want to get into politics, but people say, oh, Trump. Uh, that's true, but then at the state level, you also have different regulations, right? So Trump is at the federal level, but at the state level, you still have some states that have some special grants for EVs or for decarbonization or for impact. So it's not always true that since Trump is there, everything is dead. That's not true. Of course, it's more complicated, but it's not like it's not the end of the world. So I will say that we could see that a decrease in the US, but again, in Copenhagen, you have lots of them, lots of green startup, Sweden as well. You have lots of impact funds, a lot of them. I will say that most of the funds I know here in Copenhagen, most of the VCs, also private equities, but mostly VCs, invest in green startups, and that's something that you don't see in the US.
Yeah, correct. And you've also worked in sales and finance. So how does that combination help you evaluate founders and evaluate the go-to-market strategies?
Yeah, so it allowed me to see, it allowed me to see different visions, right? Because when you work in sales, something you taught is, of course, to understand what you're selling, right? So understand the business. Um, in finance, that's not always the case. So you deal with numbers, but if you work in the finance department, maybe not on a VC, but if you work in the finance department of a startup, sometimes you don't really necessarily understand the business model. You look at the numbers and everything on your Excel, but you might not really understand deeply. The sales guy or the sales girl or whoever has to understand what they're selling, right? So they really understand what the product is, what the service is, and that's important because when you can combine both, you can combine a vision where you're like, okay, I have to understand what the product is, but I'm also good with numbers, so I can make sense of it. And when you're able to combine both, you really have a winning formula, a winning recipe.
Correct. And somebody who is just done the graduation and they're interested to get into the VC world, what skills do you think they should add on, or that you recommend building, so that they can have that sort of a career in the VC world?
Yeah, I will say. I mean, I could say I could talk for hours on this, but I will say the most important skill is I mean, it's not really a skill, but it's networking. So it's connect with people, connect. Talk with anybody really, because networking in the end is everything. you have to know people, and you have to connect. I mean, imagine you are at a bar, right?
Yeah.
And you want to talk to the person close to you. I mean, worst case scenario, the person is gonna say no, right? And that's fine. People are gonna say no to you. Normal scenario, the people you're gonna talk, but you're not gonna learn anything, but you still have a great time. Best
Yeah.
case scenario, you find yourself a partner. You can be in love, in work, in whatever. So it's super important to really network, because then again, it's, as I was saying before, it's compounding. When you talk to people and you make a really good first impression, then people are gonna talk about you to someone else, and you're gonna make introductions and more introduction and more introduction. Then it compounds, and before you know it, you know great people, and great people know you, because that's also important, right? So most people say, "Oh yeah, I know that person." Yeah, but does that person know you?
Yeah.
So I will say connect, and don't be shy. Just talk to people. Don't be afraid of no's. You're gonna receive no's. I was of course shy as well, but you need to, at some point you need to go over that.
Correct. Do you think VC job is like a sales job? Are you always selling yourself? Um, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I will say so. But that's in every job, right? You're always selling yourself, whatever you do. Even when you talk to your girlfriend, right? You're also like selling yourself in a way. You say, okay, should we go to dinner or should we go to the bowling? You're selling the bowling or the dinner, so you're always
Yeah.
selling something, right?
Yeah.
It's life.
Correct. And looking back, are there any projects or milestones, especially in your career, which you're very proud of, and what did teach you to where you are right now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound arrogant or anything, but I would say, in a way, myself, because I used to be completely different. At 17, I barely spoke English. My English was really bad. Um, I I was able to turn that around, and I was like the normal kid, and nothing special. At school, I was quite normal. At some point, I was even mediocre. Then I was able to improve, and but I was like, nothing special. But I really worked on myself. I was like, okay, I have to change this. I really worked on myself, and I was able to change that. And now, I speak English perfectly. Again, I was able to talk to lots of people, improve myself. Yeah.
Got it. Awesome. And I quickly want to know the top three. What's your favorite business book?
Yeah, I would say Only the Paranoid Survive, from
Okay.
Andrew S. Group. Maybe you know it. Yeah, the
Yes.
book that was written by the previous CEO of Intel.
Yeah.
For those who don't know it, basically the book it's a really interesting book. Basically talks about the 10x rule, right? Have you read the book?
I have, yes.
Yeah.
I think Andy Grove is one of is the reason and the company is still surviving now.
Yeah, it's he has the 10x rule, which is like, first of all, if you see your competitor, if you see your competitors change over time, this means that something is changing.
Yeah.
And if you see that, if you have to ask yourself, okay, if there is a new technology, if this new technology had to 10x,
Yeah.
what would happen? Would I need to just change a few things? This is not a strategic inflection point. Do I need to completely rechange everything? This is a strategic inflection point. And I think it's a really important book because, especially nowadays, right, with AI agents, I think lots of businesses don't understand that AI agents are a strategic inflection point. This is a 10x technology, so you really need to reinvent yourself and your strategy. So I think, like, there is not a better time to read that book. It's a really awesome book. It's quite easy to read. It's also quite short. I think it's like 150 pages, 200 pages, something like that. And it's, again, you can find, I think, pretty much anywhere, right, on Amazon. Also, it's a good book.
Got it. We'll put that in show notes. And if you could go back in time when you started your career, Joe, or started your VC career, what is the one thing you would have focused on or done things differently?
Uh, well, I would say started earlier. No, I mean, jokes apart. To be fair, I don't want to sound the boring guy and the wise guy, but nothing. Because in a way, if I didn't do what I did, if I didn't saw what I saw, if I didn't see what I saw, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't know what I know today. Even though some things were wrong, some things were, some things could have been done better. I wouldn't be who I am today. And I think that should be for anybody, right?
Right.
So you need to fail to learn, and I don't regret that.
Correct. And do you have any favorite online tools, for example, Gmail, Slack, Zoom, ChatGPT?
Yeah, I really like ChatGPT. Also Slack for communication. Slack for communication, I think it's really good for companies. I've used Slack on any company I worked.
Yeah.
DataCamp for learning. That's where I learned to use R, Python. Although I'm not really good with Python, but Python, Power BI. And then yeah, Power BI. I will say as well, it's a really great tool. That I think I don't see lots of startups using it, but I think for presentation, when you want to show graphs, especially to VCs, I think there is not a better tool than Power BI.
Correct. We'll put that in our show notes. Cesare, what is the best way people can reach out to you and know more about YOBE Ventures?
Yeah, so to reach out to me, you can reach out on my LinkedIn. I'm always available. And then for YOBE Ventures, you have the website. You have a website, and then you also have our email on the website. But you can also text me directly on LinkedIn. I'm always available, so feel free to reach me out.
Correct. We'll put that in the show notes. Thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us. I really enjoyed my conversation with you.
Yeah, same. Thanks a lot, Rohit.